A very warm welcome to the IB studio for this session on the Pre-IB and the IB Diploma Program. My name is Paul Bjarfitz and I am the IB coordinator. With me this evening I have Caroline Kornmuller.
My name is Caroline and I'm an IB graduate student here, from Stenhus Gymnasium. I now work as a study helper here at the school.
So, if you've been here previously this evening, you will know that, but let me just say, beneath the screen right now, you should see a little question box. You are very welcome to put in any questions in that box that you would like us to answer. We won't be doing that this evening, just so you know. We will take all the questions that we received this evening, and then tomorrow we'll sit down and write answers to all of them, and then we will post that on our website. So please go and check the website tomorrow. You'll see your question and our answer to it. If you want a more immediate answer to a question right now, you're also very welcome to call Kenya Henriksson. She is manning the phone until 2100 hours this evening. The number you should be able to see somewhere on the website, but it is 59436465. 59436465. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give you a short presentation on the Pre-IB and the IB Diploma Program with some slides that you can see, and then following that Caroline and I will be answering some of the questions that we are typically asked about the Pre-IB and the IB Diploma Program. So on the first slide, which you can hopefully see on your screen now, this is a slide that illustrates to you, in a sense, the fact that this is a worldwide program, the IB. It was started in 1968. You can see that it is globally recognized all over the world. This is a slightly old slide. I believe right now there are 3,500 schools in the world offering the IB diploma program, that is. And although there are only 17 schools in Denmark, this is to illustrate the fact that this is a worldwide international program. In this second slide, what I want to illustrate here is the way the Pre-IB and the IB Diploma Program fit in to the Danish 3-year high school. So what you can see illustrated here is the fact that the Pre-IB is equivalent to the first year of the Danish high school, the first G, and the IB is equivalent to the second and third year of the Danish high school. So the Pre-IB is a preparatory program. It's a 1 year getting students ready for, in a sense, the second and third year, the IB Diploma Program. This next slide illustrates the subjects that are in the Pre-IB. And one of the things you can see obviously straight away is, well, it's a broad program. There are lots of subjects. In the IB itself, you'll get to specialize in 6 subjects, but in the Pre-IB, it's a broad program. And part of that is obviously helping you then make those good choices for what subjects you want to do in the IB. But the other thing is, if you know anything about the STX, you will recognize this looks very much like a first degree, the first year of the Danish STX. And you would be correct. The Pre-IB is, in a sense, it is the first degree of STX, but taught in English. So the same subjects, but with the difference that it's taught in English. The exception to that is obviously the subject Danish, which is taught in Danish. The advantage of that, so the Pre-IB has a foundation course, just like all the other Danish high school programs. The advantage of this program being, in a sense, the first year of the first degree of STX, but taught in English, is that you, if you're a Danish student, you can, in a sense, try this out, just like the other programs. You can do the foundation course, and if you then decide this is not the right program for you, you can switch into STX, or TX, or HX. You can switch into another program. You have that right after 3 months. Now, not many of our students do that. Most of the students who start in Pre-IB, the vast majority of them will quite happily continue that year and complete it and then move into the IB. But it's important for me to point out to you that you do have that option, especially if you're a little bit concerned about, is this the right program for me? Well, sometimes we say, well, try it out. What have you got to lose? And if it turns out not to be the right program, then you can switch after 3 months. So the Pre-IB is very much about getting used to working in English for many students. Most students don't have English as their first language. You've got to get used to that. Learning the subject terminology in some subjects. You're used to doing English in English, but maybe not maths in English. So you've got to learn the terminology. filling in the gaps in your subject knowledge and preparing yourself for the IB. We sometimes say it's a free year, and what we mean by that is it's free in the sense that the grades that you will get that will count for your university application are the grades that you from the IB. So the grades that you get in pre-IB only count once when you're in IB and don't count on the long run. So really, it is less about grades and more about getting yourself ready for the IB itself. This is the overview of the IB Diploma program, and I'm not going to go into I could spend a lot of time talking about this, but I will refer you to a presentation that I'm going to do, going through the different subjects, going through the different IB profiles that we have at Stenhus, and that presentation will be on the website from tomorrow or from Wednesday. So I'll just briefly talk about this now, and then please go and look at that presentation if you need more detail. As you can see, the way the the way the IB is organised is there are these 6 subject groups. And as a student, you choose one subject in each of these 6 subject groups. And you can see again, it's a broad program. There are you choose 2 languages, you can do 3. You choose a science, you choose maths, you choose a social science in what's called Group 3. Note also that next to every subject it says HL or SL. That refers to high level or standard level. So high level is equivalent to A level in the Danish system, and standard level is equivalent to B level in the Danish system. As an IB student, you need to choose 3 or 4 subjects at high level, and then 2 or 3 at standard level. But as I say, about how to choose good subjects and the combinations of that, I refer you to that presentation that you'll be able to see on our website in a few days' time, or go into detail about how to make good subject choices. The final slide I just want to show you right now is one of the questions we get asked most often is, well, the students who come here, why do they choose the IB? And so here are some of the most typical reasons. We've done a survey, and see, these are some of the most typical reasons. Some students say that they want the advantages of they're aiming to go abroad. They are doing the IB because that is their goal, to go and study abroad. That's why they're doing the IB, but they don't want to close doors on higher education in Denmark. And there is sometimes this misunderstanding. If you do the IB, you do close doors on Denmark, but that is not true. That is just not true. So that's one reason why students choose this program. Some students, these are more often our international students, they will choose this program because they know it's a highly recognized program. The fact that they can come here and do the program with no tuition fee, let's be honest, that is an attractive thing, and live at our boarding school, that is something that is the reason why they came here. We have these elite sports programs at Stenhus Gymnasium. We have very good sports facilities and very good programs. And we have them in basketball, badminton, handball, tennis and soccer. And some students, that combination of doing their sport and the IB, so in Caroline's year, I think there were 3 boys at least and 2 girls, basketball players, and that was one of the reasons. That was, they came here because that combination. Their goal, typically, not always, but their goal can be they want to go to the USA, and they want to study there, and they want to go and do their basketball. So that combination of doing the IB and their sport is something that makes us attractive. In the same way, we have a very good after-school program in drama called the Drama College. It is in Danish, so you need to know that you have to have a level of Danish to do it. But some students will come, that combination of doing IB and drama. One of our graduates last year had that combination. There are students that recognise that the IB is, it's close to the STX in terms of the kind of educational program. But of course, if you do the IB, one thing we can guarantee you is that you will radically improve your English proficiency, not only your spoken proficiency, but also, and not least, your written proficiency. And then finally, there are some students who choose this program because of some of the specific subjects. If you look at our hexagon, that slide I showed you of all the subjects like psychology high level, that's A level psychology. You can't do that in any other Danish youth education program. Some students who might otherwise be looking at a HHX, well, the fact that you can do an IB and do business management and economics, a third of your subjects, are those subjects. That's something that makes the program attractive. Global politics is another subject that we, as mentioned, as something that was attractive and is, I feel, a very good subject, and a subject that many students choose to do. So those are the slides for now that I wanted to show you. We're now going to move to the sort of more looking at some of the questions that we typically get asked. So Caroline, I've talked about some of these typical reasons, but why don't you tell our viewers why you chose to do the Pre-IB and the IB?
One might be tempted to believe that I'm not the typical IB student, as I don't have an international background. I am completely Danish. I have a Danish mother and a Danish father, and I went to the school just next door before I became a student here at Stenhus Gymnasium. But the reason why I chose the IB is that I have always loved the English language, and I've always been fascinated with different cultures. So for me to be able to choose a program taught exclusively in English with international students was extremely appealing to me. I also really appreciated the fact that, as Paul mentioned before, that I could choose my own subjects, and that those subjects would then be based on the interests that I had. And lastly, I've always known that I wanted to work either abroad or in an international environment. So for me, the IB was a really exciting opportunity to set the foundation for this. And as I mentioned earlier, I am completely Danish. And in your experience, Paul, where do students typically come from when doing the IB?
That's a good question. And I think, just to pick up on that first thing, don't rule yourself out just because you're typically Danish. I mean, because many students do have that feeling. Caroline is a good example of that is not the case. She might not know this, but I can tell her now she was top 5 in her year in doing the IB. Some of the best students I've taught, I used to teach in the IB also English A, literature. Some of my best students have been Danish students. So don't rule yourself out because you're Danish. And we do get students from many Danish schools. All the schools in Holbæk are represented. Oshad, schools from Højby, Nykøbing. We have students from Kalundborg. We have quite a big group of students, about 12, 15 students who come every day from Roskilde. We even have a group of students who I see on the train, because I live in Copenhagen, who come from Copenhagen every day. So we generally have students that come, Danish students that come from all over to come to this school. And of course, because we have a boarding school, and I think also because we have these elite sports programs, we have attracted a lot of international students. So we literally have students from all over the world coming here. Poland, Czech Republic, the UK, the other Scandinavian countries, Spain, but also, further afield. We have students coming from the US, also applicants next year coming from the USA. I have an applicant from Thailand. I have students coming from China. The last time we counted, we had 36 nationalities represented in our program. So on the one hand, yes, we have a certain proportion of Danish students doing this program. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not about how international you are now when you start the program, in my eyes. It's about your intention to become international in the future. That's the important thing. So we have a good mix, we feel, of Danish and international students in our program. Another question that we are often asked, and I think it's relevant to pose this to you, is what kind of after-school activities do you offer at Stenhus?
Stenhus Gymnasium is a very big school. We have approximately 1,300 students here, and the advantage of being a student at a very big school is that there is a lot of after-school activities. So when I was a student here, I joined the student council, and I also help create the group called the Political Assembly here at Stenhus. If you're more into challenging yourself academically, you can join the ATU, which is the Academy for Talented Students. We've also had IB students who've created Model United Nations and a debating club here at Stenhus. We enter public speaking competitions. And if you're more of the partying type, you can join SEF, which is short for Stenhus Party Committee, who arrange the infamous Stenhus parties. If you're more the creative kind, we have theater concerts, we have film festivals, musical performances, and these are just to mention a few of the after-school activities that take place here at Stenhus Gymnasium. You can find an overlook and a list of these activities or clubs on our website to get the full overlook of everything. Another common question, Paul, is what kind of support do we offer students here at Stenhus Gymnasium?
This is something that's important to me. I used to work as a student counsellor, and I have to say we're very proud of the Learning Support Department at Stenhus Gymnasium. So, just to mention some of the things, every incoming student to the school will have a student counsellor assigned to him or her. So this is a person you can go to and just about ask anything. And if the student counsellor doesn't know the answer, they'll refer you to somebody who does. Every class in this school has a so-called classroom teacher. So a teacher who has, in a sense, been assigned to be a go-to person, and again, somebody that you'll get to know, and you can go to that person with any problems that you may have. We offer additional support for students who have, in a sense, additional problems, who need extra support, whether that be dyslexia, whether that be autism. We do our very best to support those students. So don't feel that's a reason not to apply. We generally do our best to support all those students. One of the things I think is really important is that we offer an introductory program. So when in the pre-IB it's 2 days, and in the IB it's 1 day. And these are days where there are no classes. It's all about you, the first days of school, us obviously giving you some various bits of information, but just as importantly, you getting to know each other. Because it's important. It's important that you feel comfortable here as quickly as possible, and that you look forward to coming to school and meeting those friends and coming into the classroom. And that's why we spend good time at the beginning of the course introducing you to each other also. And we also offer, maths can be a subject some students find difficult, so we offer a so-called maths study hall once a week after school, and it's manned by a teacher and what we call a study helper. And the school does employ 5 graduates from the previous year who are now taking a sabbatical year as so-called study helpers. And luckily, we have the IB study helper here. So, Caroline, tell us a little bit about what your job involves.
I would say that my job or my role here at Stenhus Gymnasium has 3 really important branches. The first one obviously being that I'm here to help students with homework or assignments, and if they have a hard time, they're always welcome to come and ask me for help. The second one being that I, as we've mentioned before, myself am an IB graduate, and I have therefore experienced the exams and the internal assessments and have learned all the so-called do's and don'ts. And therefore another part of my job is to pass on any knowledge and tips and tricks that can help students do really well in the IB program. Lastly, and I would argue almost most importantly, I am a friend of the students. I am someone the students can laugh with, but also someone the students can come to if they struggle. The IB can sometimes be tough, and students often feel like they're completely alone with their struggles. And it can be difficult to take these struggles to a teacher or Paul, even though they're very, very nice people. So here my role can be to offer a shoulder to cry on, and it is completely normal to feel overwhelmed at some point during the IB. We all feel it. I felt it. Everyone does. So I personally remember being very curious about what students typically do after the IB. And I know you've had a lot of many years of experience as a college counselor. So Paul, what does students typically do after they have graduated?
Yes, so before I came to Stenhus Gymnasium 5 years ago, I worked as a teacher and a college counsellor at another Danish IB school. So I kind of know not only where students from here go, but also typically from Danish IB schools, what do students do? Well, as we said, many students come here because their aim is, the dream is, I want to go and study abroad. I want to go to America, I want to go to Canada or wherever. And some, of course, do. They do, that's what they end up doing. So abroad, in a sense, students are going abroad. When we talk about abroad from Danish IB schools, I can tell you that around about 90% we're talking the US, Canada and the UK. That is where 90% of students go. Now, Brexit might change things in the UK, but that has been the pattern for many years. You can actually see a couple of them just behind us. Maya, who is a graduate from Caroline's class, is now in Glasgow doing a Bachelor in Human Biology, and below her is Ella, who is currently in London doing a Bachelor in Chinese and Japanese Studies. at the bottom. You might not be able to see her, but Juliana, who is in Holland, doing a Bachelor in International and European Law. So, the students go off to these countries. They go off. Holland is becoming very popular. We have students this year applying to France. We have a student applying to Sweden. Generally, students do go all over the place. But then there is a big group of students who actually initially stay in Denmark because there are good universities in Denmark. And of course, another selling point for Danish universities is, just like our IB program, there is no tuition fee. So, a lot of students stay, and where do they go? Well, they go to Copenhagen Business School. That's quite a popular choice. There are students who are wanting to do medicine, going to do law, engineering at DTU. Roskilde has quite a lot of international programs taught in English. So they go all over the place. And one of the great things about Danish universities is they all have exchange programs with universities abroad. So even if you initially started at Danish university, there's a really good opportunity in your third year to get onto an exchange program. And then you can go off and they have exchange programs with really good universities all around the world. And that's a really good opportunity if you're an IB graduate to go off. And I know lots of IB graduates have done this. And the great thing about going on a university exchange program to a university abroad is it operates as what's called no fee, no degree. What that means is Copenhagen University send 10 students to Vancouver and University of British Columbia send 10 students to Copenhagen. There's no money involved. So you can go and spend that year and there's no tuition fee to pay. And you can take your Danish SU with you. So it really is win-win. So I know lots of IB graduates who've done that. And again, we feel that the IB, this really prepares you for that reality. You're going to get used to working in English academically at a high level, and it's really good preparation for that kind of future. We have 4 minutes left, so maybe an additional question. Maybe I should ask you a question. I could see it's already come in this evening. How much homework is there? What's the study load?
Well, I'm not going to lie. There is quite a lot of homework. However, the IB is put together in that way that in a way where you have less classes but more homework and more assignments. Furthermore, you have a lot of gap modules, so if you learn to utilize your time early, the amount of homework is not that hard. But I won't lie and say that there isn't a lot of homework, because there is. But if you learn to plan your time and utilize your time and stay on top of your work, the amount of homework will not pose a problem for you. And otherwise, teachers are generally very understanding if you need an extension on an assignment, which is very nice. So teachers are generally very understanding if you have a lot of assignments due the same day of the same week.
Yeah, one more question for me?
Yes. What confuses some people about the IB program is that there are Danish schools that have international studieretninger. How is the IB different from those educational programs?
Well, I think just the fact that the IB is a global program, it's a program that's offered all around the world, it's a genuine international program that means the Danish, there's nothing wrong with these studieretninger. I'm not trying to say that, but they are different. It is, in a sense, a HHX that is taught in English or an STX that is taught in English. But this is a genuine international program that has this idea of international mindedness in it. It has this goal of education for a better world. And I think just that because we have international students, we cannot just be speaking Danish. We have to communicate in English. So that kind of total immersion in English in an international environment is something I think that is unique to the IB. I would argue that the percentage-wise are more Danish students doing these international studieretninger and that they speak more Danish. I could be wrong, but that is my perception of that, and that does make it different. We have lots of international students. We have to communicate in English. If I'm right, we have just under 2 minutes left. A final slide. I'm hoping it's shown to you, but otherwise I'll just tell you what's on the slide. How do you apply? Very briefly, go on our homepage, go to the IB, Pre-IB, IB, go to the drop-down menu called Application. You will see you can access both the Pre-IB online application form or the IB online application form. And then, very importantly, you can see this at the bottom of the slide, if you are coming from a Danish school, you also need to apply via optagelse.dk. So you need to do both. You need to upload our application form and go to optagelse.dk. And I know that schools are very good at guiding students on optasia.dk, so get the guidance that you can from the school. We have a minute left, I believe. And so it is about time for us to round off now. We really hope this has been an informative evening for you and that you feel you know a little bit more about Stenhus. Do go and see those presentations that we will have up and running on our webpage. Go and see the answers if you've asked any question. Go in tomorrow or the day after and see the answers to those questions. We are also going to make ourselves available. We'll put our emails on our website. And go, if you want to talk to us, you can write an email to us and you can set up an appointment with us and we'll talk to you via Teams or via Skype or whatever. The phone is open for another half an hour. So if you have any additional questions, please call the number and talk to Kenya. Thank you for watching, and we really hope that we can welcome many of you to our school and to our program in August. Thank you and goodbye.